Hey I-doers, it's me, Settlement Lindy, up in the Outer Hebrides. This is May 2021 and I'm up here for a week, just having some slowing down time, some spiritual unwinding, a wee bit of a retreat, and writing some ceremonies and buying some items, some Harris tweed and some other ceremony items. And I'm on the sort of west coast, I'm on the west coast of Lewis, a really beautiful part of, trying to move out the way so you can see behind me. I'm on the west coast of Lewis, a wee place called Callanish standing stones, which are just that way, not very far that way. I can walk to them. It's some of the oldest standing stones in the world. Absolutely beautiful. I've got a wee cottage just behind the camera there, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I'm going to talk to you in a wee minute about the oathing stone ritual, but first of all I just wanted to talk a wee bit about this place and how beautiful it is, and how it's all connected with this human need for ceremony and ritual. And because I'm here on my own, as I say, I've been here now for 5 days now. I'm here on my own, but although I'm on my own, I certainly don't feel alone, because this place feels absolutely alive. This whole area, not just this wee part that I'm in, but this whole part of Scotland, and there are many parts of Scotland that have this feeling of spirituality and life and presence all around, but this is certainly one of them. I've been lucky that I've been able to travel to many places, make beautiful places in the world, but Scotland is by far my favourite, and to me it's by far the most spiritual, and everything here feels as if it's alive. You know, the stones, the water, the hills, the trees, the grass, everything feels as if it has its own life force. And if you're like somebody like me that believes that everything in the natural world has its own life force, then this is a really beautiful place to come. But it's so interesting that most of us live in towns and cities where there are thousands and thousands of people sometimes, and yet you can feel completely disconnected from the natural world, from God or spirit or the sacred or the universe, whatever language you want to use for that. But you can feel completely disconnected, even though there are people everywhere. And then you come to somewhere like this where there are hardly any people. I haven't seen a soul this whole week, unless I have gone out to the shops or whatever, which are, the nearest one's 10 miles away. I haven't seen a soul round about here. So you come to these places where there are hardly any people, and yet you feel this deep connection to life and to the sacred, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's I don't know, I don't have the language to describe it, but you feel the mystery and the magic of this beautiful landscape, and these ancient rocks and stones and hills, and it just feels, you feel closer, or I certainly feel closer to God here than I do in many, many places. But as I said, today I was going to talk a wee bit about the oathing stone, because the oathing stone's a really popular ritual in Scottish ceremony, and so it should be, because we human beings have this deep fascination and connection with stones. And some of you will know that my oathing stone, the one I use in ceremony, comes from the Isle of Lewis. I found it just a few miles up the road some years ago when I was camping. And I don't particularly like taking things from their natural resting place, but I had asked Spirit I had done a wee ceremony and set an intention asking Spirit to guide me to an oathing stone, and it guided me within like a minute to this beautiful big heart-shaped stone. It's just gorgeous, and I don't have it with me, but it's absolutely beautiful. And I use it in many of my ceremonies, but for other celebrants or couples who are getting married or having some sort of ceremony and they want to have an oathing stone in it, then you might want to have your own. And if you're going to have your own, to me, the most authentic way of including it in your ceremony is to go out and find it, to go out and allow yourself to be drawn to a stone, and if you're so minded, to ask Spirit to guide you to a stone that you can use. And up here in Outer Hebrides, there's some of the oldest stone in the world. It's millions of years old, and it's called Gneiss stone, Gneiss, I think it is. And but you don't have to come up here to find it. You can find it wherever, in whatever landscape you are drawn to. But there's something really beautiful about stone, and of course it's ancient and it's full of mystery, and it's a custodian. Stones are custodians of secrets over thousands and thousands of years, and they've been rolling around in the water, being coming up against each other, rubbing against each other, and the sand and everything else that washes away parts and shapes them into what they are when we find them on the beach. Every single one of them completely unique. I just found this one, it's a wee bit heart-shaped, can you see it? Each one of them absolutely unique. But why do we use them in ceremonies? Well, as I've said in many of my other videos, rituals allow us to give form to vows and to promises and to whatever else, whatever intention we have for a ceremony, whether it's to bring two people together in union, or to bless a wee one that's come into the world and to give that wee one its name. The rituals give form to those intentions. So rituals take something that's abstract, so this idea of commitment or a blessing, and they give it form. And one of the ways we do that is by using stones. And of course, most of us have heard the phrase "set in stone," and that's the idea behind using these in your ceremony. Because if two people who in their hearts have these promises that they're making to each other for their life together, or if it's two parents who come together to bless a baby and their hearts are filled with love and hope and promises that they're making to their wee one, then by placing their hands on the stone and saying those words aloud, those words of promise, those oaths, those vows, whatever pledges, whatever you want to call them, or blessings, by saying those aloud, the idea is that they will be embedded, they will be imbued within the stone, and they will be held there for all time. So even after you and I are long, long gone, the promises that are made are held within these stones, and that makes them immortal. That makes whatever promises a couple make to each other using the oaken stone, they will stand the test of time. They will be here long, long after that couple are. So very powerful, very meaningful, and very, very Scottish, very Celtic. So if you're thinking of having an oaken stone in your ceremony, then my advice would be to either find one and take your time in finding it, set aside some time way before your ceremony, set aside some time so that you and your partner, or you and if you're pregnant and you're going to have a blessing for your wee one, then spend some time looking for that stone and thinking about why you're having this ritual in your ceremony, thinking about the promises that you're making to your partner for your life together, or for your wee one, or whatever it might be. And when you find that stone, put it somewhere that you can see it and that it can hear you and your partner, and the words that you say to each other before your ceremony, not just during your ceremony, so that by the time that you come to use it, it has already been imbued, it's already the forces that have brought you together, or have brought this wee one to you, or if it's a house blessing that have brought you to that home, if it's an adoption ceremony that have brought that life into yours, whatever kind of ceremony it is that you're having, by the time that you have the ceremony, then that stone has already been imbued with all of the essence of your relationship. Because at the end of the day, life is all about relationships, isn't it? And none more so than a relationship with the natural world, I think. Well, certainly for me, sitting here anyway. So I hope that's been helpful, and I'm away back to enjoy a nice bowl of soup in front of the fire, and no doubt I'll be on speaking to you again soon. Okay, fearful.